Hey, welcome to Typevolution. In this video, I'm going to talk about purposeful hobbies. I have made videos and I've written blog articles about the Jungian 16 types that you probably know from MBTI and socionics. I have come up with the purpose role concept. And a lot of times people believe that the only way how they can fulfill their purpose is through making money, right? Through having a career. Most free, purposeful hobbies do evolve into a career or into a job or into monetary value in exchange, because that is just how we operate in our society. But we are at different levels of our personal evolution, of our personality evolution, and we might not want to do that. So there's different reasons or different circumstances right now why you might not want to do your purpose role, your personality's purpose for money at the moment. You actually already have learned a certain profession, a certain skill, a certain trade in the market, and you don't really want to trade that in right now for whatever reason. You want to stay in your current profession, but at the same time, the thing is that this profession doesn't suit your personality entirely, or there's a lot of things that are somewhat misaligned. Hence, you need another activity, another pastime, another purposeful hobby on the side that still brings you more fulfillment in life, that makes your life feel more fun, more enriched. So if it is not for the career or for the money, it is a free exchange. So this is what I'm going to write here in quotation marks. It's a free exchange. And free just means that you don't get money for it, but you still have to do some work. You still have to put effort in, time, energy. It's not like free in the sense of, oh, it's super easy and you don't have to do anything for it and it just falls into your lap. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, that doesn't happen. You do need to do something for it. The free just stands for the fact that it is not involving money, but there is usually some other kind of exchange. I'm going to talk more about that later. I have to say, my purpose roles are mainly based on the 16 Jungian types because they are all about your personality's inherent role for society. This is what your personality is here to do. And also it can include Enneagram. I'm not including Enneagram here right now, but when I work more closely with my clients or in my extended personality guides, I do include Enneagram as well, because it does also influence how you express your purpose role. So why doesn't it just have to be about money? Because at the core of it, your purpose is about improving humanity and improving yourself, and to be of service to yourself and other people. And that service, yes, it can be for free, but you should probably still get something in return for it, either on a personal level or in a social way. So it's not truly free that you don't get anything back. You do get something back, but it's just not money. The also true purpose of it is that it brings you fulfillment and it makes you more attractive. What I personally have experienced, and also with my top clients, is that when they were pursuing something that suited their personalities better, aka purposeful hobby or side gig or side hustle, it made them more attractive and it made them more fulfilled. And this attractiveness will in turn attract people to you who are more compatible with you on a personality level. So this is why nowadays I want to emphasize that the most, that having a purposeful hobby is not just about the money, but actually being able to attract someone with your personality, with your genuine self, right? Okay, when it comes to how to find your purpose, I can refer you to my previous video, how to find your purpose based on your personality. And in that video, I give you the general overview and the steps to follow to find that. So the process of finding your purpose is actually very similar, no matter whether you make it into a career and make money with it, or whether you keep it as a quote-unquote free, aka monetarily free enterprise. So I'm going to give you some signs to know whether you have found your purpose, aka your purposeful activity. One of the core signs is what I call feeling home, a feeling of being home. That is a tricky one to describe because feeling home can have two different meanings. It can either mean that something is familiar, something that you experienced in childhood, and familiarity can be a magnet at times, or it can make things more interesting or more quote-unquote attractive to you, and feel like home just because it is familiar. However, once you keep at it, you will realize whether the familiarity is just the familiarity, that's it, or whether it's actually a personality fit. In the beginning, it can be confusing because it can feel like home just if it's familiar. But like I said, if you keep going, if you stick with it, over time, you will realize whether it's actually fit or not. So this is the familiarity, which I'm not addressing here. What I'm actually addressing is the feeling of finally being home. It's like a sanctuary for your mind. It feels like your soul has finally arrived, like your soul is at home here. I know it sounds very cheesy, but I find it difficult to express. That's just been my experience. I'm talking more personally here. The feeling of home, the feeling of your psyche being at home. It's like a mental home, mind home. And one example I can give from my experience is when I was going to events that were hosted by a fellow psycho-spiritualist. By the way, if you don't understand any of the purpose rules I'm discussing here, go to my website typevolution.com/TVT, and there I have listed all my overviews and descriptions of the 16 purpose rules, and psycho-spiritualist is one of them. So I would advise you to check that out on my website. So I'm a psycho-spiritualist, and I went to another event hosted by a psycho-spiritualist girl. And when I was there, I was really hit by this feeling of finally, this feels like home. And the thing is, though, how I know it's not familiarity, I did not grow up with any fellow psycho-spiritualists in my family, in my vicinity at all. So it is not, I know it is not based on being familiar with it. But I know it is, it's the home of my personality. I just could feel it. This kind of feeling of this is it. This is where I'm meant to be. I know it's very flowery, but this is the feeling. That's one of the feelings you're gonna have. In the beginning, you can be misled by the familiarity. As you keep going, you will realize whether it is actually personality fit or not. So this is a bit of a difficult sign to quote unquote quantify, but it's what I've experienced. Another sign is what you could call no pressure, but I have to describe this in more detail. No pressure, or not feeling like you have to do it, and enjoying it for its own sake. On the contrary, if you felt pressured by your parents, by other people in your life, by society to engage in a certain activity, in a certain career, etc., etc., or you don't really enjoy the activity or thing for itself, you only or primarily like the benefits of it, then it's most likely not your purpose. You can even buy all kinds of gear and tools and everything for that hobby or activity, but once you actually use those tools or you actually engage in it, you realize, oh, I don't actually enjoy doing this. It doesn't really fit or suit me that much. I have to say though, in the beginning, almost everything is going to be primarily about benefits. So even something that can be your purpose or a purposeful hobby or activity will in the beginning be about the benefit that you can get from it. This is just how we humans operate, I suppose. We just go by, okay, is this a net positive, net negative? Is this a plus, a minus? Is there something that would benefit us or not? But what you can see once you have overcome that threshold of only doing it or primarily doing it for the benefits, if it is part of your purpose and as you keep going, you will actually enjoy the activity for itself, and the benefits will be more of a secondary afterthought, or they will be like a nice plus. But you would still keep doing it even if the benefits are not the main thing, even if no one could see you do it, if there was zero pressure from anybody. I mean, this is more of a side note for myself, that you would even do it when there are people telling you not to do it. But this is a bit of a tricky thing, because sometimes people do something just to be rebellious, and that might also not be their true purpose. So this might not always apply. But my point is, you would do it even if no one could see you doing it. So you're not playing a role, you're not faking it. This is another one. There's no pretense. No pretense. Not acting like something. Before I go more into no pretense, I want to emphasize this more. No pressure, its own sake. I want to give more of an example. Let's say you are going to the gym and you only go to the gym to stay fit or to look a certain way. And that's about it. And you don't get any real, true, deeper enjoyment out of it. It's very utilitarian, or it's very, not utilitarian, it's very functional. You just do it and that's it, for a certain benefit, a certain gain. However, if you actually realize, oh, I really enjoy bodybuilding, it's actually a passion of mine, then this is more likely a purposeful hobby or purposeful activity. If you become more passionate about it, you get more involved, you feel the pull to it. So then the thing itself, the benefit of it itself, is not the primary goal anymore. It's still, of course, important, but it's not the primary thing. Another example that I can give from my own life is that I just read somewhere, or I just heard that, yeah, coloring books can be good to relax, right? Or to, I don't know, just get your mind off things, just to be helpful for your mental well-being. So I bought a coloring book, I bought coloring markers in different colors, 2 different sets, and I just did it one time, and then I did it a second time, and I realized I almost don't get anything out of this. Like, I don't feel more relaxed, I don't feel any particular way about it. Actually, it might even be more stressful, because I have to think about, okay, which colors do I use now? I don't know, I just couldn't really get into it, even after doing it like 2 times. And now I still have the tools in my closet and I'm not using them, I'm not doing it. And on the other hand, though, I get way more fulfillment and enjoyment, excitement out of journaling or laying tarot cards. I don't even like to publicly say that, but it's the truth. So yeah, this is my personal example. So if you notice that's what's going on, you mostly like the idea of something, you don't really like doing it that much, it's probably a sign it's not really a purposeful activity, it's just a random hobby. And let's go back to no pretense. It's kind of connected to that. If you do something primarily because you want to come across a certain way, you want to impress people, you want to act like a certain person, identity, a certain role, then most likely you are misleading yourself. And I know it's kind of ironic that I say you're playing a role and I'm talking about purpose roles, but the purpose role is more about the kind of societal function you have, or your personality has, or yeah, the societal role. It's not about playing a part or being fake or trying to be a certain way. That's not what it's about. So when you find yourself playing pretense, trying to come across a certain way, adopt a certain identity because society praises it or society finds it great, or people you know think that's a great thing to do, you are probably operating from not your personality but something else. If you want more personalized guidance when it comes to this, let's say you have no clue what could be a purposeful hobby in your life that could give you more fulfillment and make you more attractive to potential mates, or maybe even your current mate if you have a good match at the moment, then reach out to me. You can work together with me. Go to typevolution.com/services. And now at the end, I'm going to give you also some more differences between random hobby and purposeful hobby. I already did that with the signs, but I want to specify what are the elements of a purposeful hobby. Like I said, you enjoy it for its own sake. The next one is you would do it for free. You would do it for free, and even in secret in a way, like even if no one knew about it. So this is kind of connected to the lack of pretense. Because if you do a certain hobby or activity and you're shouting it from the rooftops all the time, it depends. Some people have the kind of personality where they do it even if it's a purposeful hobby. However, if you do the thing or the hobby only for the pretense, only to come across a certain way, then most likely it's not a purposeful hobby. It's just a random hobby, or it's something you want to be, but you're not truly deep down. So you would actually do it even if no one knew about it. This can eliminate the pretense factor, and for free. And this, by the way, even applies if it is a career, by the way, with your purpose role. You would even do that technically for quote unquote free, in terms of you just find it meaningful by itself, even without getting money right away. And another point is it enriches your life, enriches, fulfills, and it enriches and fulfills your enjoyment of life, your, how you say, quality of life. I'm sorry that how I don't know if you can even read anything I'm writing here. It's a bit tricky. Everyone is going to benefit from moving their body, from working out, eating healthy, and things like that. However, you can tell if it is a purposeful hobby if on a deeper level you feel like it truly fulfills you, it enriches you, it makes you more passionate, it brings you better quality of life on several levels, not just the tangible benefits, but it's also more of an emotional and mental experience. You don't just consume it, not just consuming, creating. So you get to a point where you're not just consuming content on it, like videos like this. You're not just seeing how other people could help you, other people could inspire you, but you start creating your own stuff around it. You start being more creative with it. Now, this is not always necessarily the case with everything, but you become more of an active role, more of an active participant. And there are some things where you could say, oh, this is just consuming just by itself. For example, watching movies. Those can be very much about the consumption of it, right? You're watching the movie, you're watching the TV series. What makes a difference is, okay, you could just consume it, right? Just for your enjoyment, just to pass some time. Doesn't mean that it's a purposeful hobby. It becomes more purposeful once you actively engage with it, actively use it. You become more creative with it. Even at the baseline of just starting a group where you discuss movies, you start critiquing movies, you start sharing your reviews of movies, and that can develop further. So even just reviews can be a more purposeful hobby, and it can expand from there. You could teach others or increase other people's enjoyment. This is hard to write all down here. Teach others, increase enjoyment for others. One example for increasing the enjoyment for other people that I know, a lot of the best dungeon masters are what I call humanists and pundits. Once again, go to my website, typefusion.com/tbt, so you can read the purpose rules there. Humanists and pundits. Now, of course, there's all kinds of dungeon masters with different personality types. Dungeon master, by the way, are the kinds of people who are in charge of a role play game. You create the characters, you come up with the characters. Now, not everybody does that. There's also books for it, of course, but humanists and pundits are the ones who are going to be the most creative with it, or some of the most creative with it. I would say theorists can also be creative with it, and they go more into the game mechanics. So anyway, games like Dungeons and Dragons, where you create this whole fantasy world and you involve the other players, which are other people in your social group, and you both in a collaboration come up with a new story, something fantastical. And I would say this is really where pundits and humanists tend to shine. So this is something where there's an exchange, right? You put work and effort in. Having to work on backstories and weaving them into a main story, quests, world building, all of these things can be so much work. It can even be like almost like a part-time job or a side hustle in terms of work that you put in. But then you have this exchange with other people, and this is the exchange you get out of it. So this is where you actually improve other people's well-being, enjoyment. And it is an exchange that is technically free, but not really, because you have this social exchange going on. And last but not least, there is an element of greatness. Greatness in the sense of, you don't necessarily have to be the best person in the world doing this, though it might develop into that, but you notice that you are better at this than the average person. You are better at it than the average person, the average Joe, average Jill, whatever. And it comes easier to you than to the average person. So you will realize you're starting to kind of stick out a little bit with this hobby. You are better, you're just better at it. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. Once again, it takes work, effort, etc. But at some point you realize, oh, I'm better at it than other people around me. So this is usually when you can also notice it is a purposeful hobby. I am actually in the background working on updating my offer, like making an A to Z, how you basically improve your sense of purpose, feeling more fulfilled in your life, aligning with your personality, and in turn attracting your match. I'm thinking of putting it all together in one offer. I would advise you to sign up to the waiting list. You can find that also the link down in the description box, and then you will be one of the first people who will find out more about it, because I'm gonna be quite exclusive with it in the beginning. I'm thinking I probably only want 6 or 7 people, because I will be doing it intensively with them for a certain amount of time. It will be quite involved, so I cannot have too many people doing that with me at the same time. So yeah, make sure you're on the waiting list. Then I also know how many of you are interested, and yeah, how to go from there. All right, I hope you have a good day and see you next time. Bye.